How is it that you can build confidence on video? Video content is scary for a lot of people. And I know it was scary for me at first too, because you're putting yourself out there. Video is so powerful because it's the number one way to connect with your audience. And especially as a content creator, a coach, a consultant, your clients' accessibility to see who they're going to be working with before they actually work with you is so powerful. But how exactly do you build confidence so that you can show up as your best self on camera? Tip number one to build confidence on video is you don't need to be perfect. I find that this is like the number one thing stopping people from creating content in general, but specifically creating video content. People feel that they must be perfect. They feel like they can't say, so they feel like they can't use any of these filler words. But the thing is, people don't connect with someone who is absolutely perfect. People connect to those who they can relate with. And this is the thing about your audience. Your audience makes mistakes. Okay, they say so. You don't need to worry so much as to what mistakes you make, as much as you need to be thinking about the person you're making the video for in the first place, which is your audience, which is the one person on the other end of that camera lens who's going to be watching you and who's going to be taking away these tips and applying them to their life and their business to get a specific result. The reality is, if you're worrying about being perfect, if you're worrying about messing up, then you're already thinking about the wrong thing. You're thinking about you. What if instead you didn't focus on perfectionism, but instead you focused on them? The person on the other side of the camera, the person who's watching you on their screen, who is relying on you to give them a piece of insight, to tell them a story, to give them any kind of value at all that can help them to make a difference in their personal life or their business, whatever kind of information it is you're sharing. So don't worry about being perfect. Just get started. You're the most critical of you out of everybody. And if someone's on the other end of that camera, or they're in the comment section or anything, and they're judging you, or they're hating on you, or they're posting a bad comment, or whatever it is, that's not a you problem. That's a them problem, right? Gary Vaynerchuk talks all the time about haters and how to handle haters. And he says, I show sympathy for them, right? And the thing is, when you start, you're really not going to have haters, right? You're going to have mostly support. You might have that one person, maybe like your disconnected uncle or aunt of the family, who's like, why are you making videos online? Because they don't understand how that stuff works. Let's be real. But it's not about them. It's not about your family, your brother, sister, your spouse even. It's about the person you're making the video for in the first place. This is why it's so important to know your ideal client and the person you're trying to reach. But even if you don't know who that is, just begin making videos. Put yourself out there, because we're all a personal brand. Whether you have a product or service yet or not, you are a personal brand. Even if you work for a company, your ability to put yourself on video and become confident and effective on video is so super powerful to make yourself even more valuable for whatever company it is you're working for. And check it out. The reality is, perfection doesn't matter, because 90%, maybe for most of those listening, 99% of your video content is going to not be recorded live. Like, I record this live because I've been creating video content now for several years, and I was delivering trainings and presenting for years before that. But I only started creating live videos like 6 months ago, because only then was I finally confident enough to put myself in front of the live camera, unafraid to make mistakes. And I make mistakes all the time. I've already made like 10 mistakes. You might not even have noticed them, right? Because most of it's in my own mind. But most of the mistakes that you make, or the awkward silences, or the words that you didn't mean to say, or someone interrupting your video, or the kids crying in the background, 99% of that can be edited out post-production. You can edit it out in iMovie, Final Cut, whatever editing software you use. Everything can be trimmed. Go watch some of those people you follow on social media. You'll see the editing. You'll see them cutting from one frame to another frame. And some of them are very critical of their content, and others can do an entire video in one shot because they're just not worried about what others might think of a slight mistake that they make. So don't focus on perfection. Focus on simply getting started. Tip number 2 for building your confidence on video is, you got to have a plan. You can't just, well, you can, but you really don't want to just show up to the video. You don't want to just hit record and wing it. I mean, that might be a great way to improve in your improv or your comedy, but it might not be the best way to actually improve on delivering a specific valuable message to your audience. It's really important to have a plan. And, this is similar to when you're giving speeches in front of other people. You don't need to have like quotations and an entire script written out. All I really focus on, and this is my style, it might be different for you. All I focus on is I have like points here that I want to touch on. I don't know if you can read these, but this is this video that I'm shooting right now. All right, I've got the bullet points of what I want to talk about. Every now and then I'll look down to see what the next point is because, listen, my memory isn't like photographic memory, so I still have to look at things like this. But have some kind of outline ready. Maybe you want to share 3 tips or 3 points with your audience or the people watching. Then write down those 3 points as bullet points. That way you can simply look down and recalibrate where you are in your presentation. But when it comes to having a plan or having an outline together, I learned something years ago from Russell Brunson, who is the founder and now, or he used to be the CEO of ClickFunnels. Someone else took that role, but incredible marketer, incredible salesperson. He talks about having an outline of having a strong and powerful hook, having a story in the middle, and then having a very strong call to action, a specific thing that you want the person watching the video to do, or a specific place that you want them to go after they're done watching the video. So this hook, story, call to action format, the hook is what stops people as they're scrolling through their feed. This is what gets them to click on the video in the first place. If you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, this might be a picture that you upload as the thumbnail, or maybe it's the title that you title the video. Like generally, I always know the title of the video before I even put together the outline, because if the title isn't compelling, then you won't have anybody actually click the video or the live stream and watch it. But listen, if you don't have people watching your first few videos or your first 10 or 20 videos, that's fine, right? You gotta start somewhere. Start small. Start with 1 viewer. Start with 2 viewers. You've gotta start somewhere. But having a compelling title and a picture or a thumbnail that gets people to stop is going to be super powerful, because that's what they see and that's how they decide to even click and watch your video before you even get to your tips and the points that you want to make. Now, your hook is what gets people to stop. Your story is a personal experience from your life or the life of someone else that enunciates the point that you're trying to make. We digest stories much better than the way that we simply digest someone telling us what to do or telling us what it is we should do. So that's the power of stories. We could create an entire live stream on that alone. And then the call to action is what you want people to do. So I will frequently ask you, if you're enjoying this, to like this video, subscribe or follow, depending on where you're watching or listening. Like, I want to give you a specific action to take that can help the channel grow, but that will also ensure that you see all the videos that we post in the future. So you have to have a call to action, something that you want the people to do. Because if you don't have that, then you share valuable content. People are wondering what to do next. The call to action lets them know what you want them to do next. So this outline gives you a pretty clear and concise plan for how your video is going to go. So that's step number 2. You got to have a plan. And step number 3 to really build your confidence on video is as simple as continuing to make videos. You just got to keep going. You just got to keep going live. You've just got to keep recording. It takes time. Like, the only reason I started making video content was because video content changed my life. Watching people like Tony Robbins and other live streamers that I watched and Les Brown and some of the podcasts I listened to, I really enjoyed watching as somebody spoke to me and gave me advice or told me a story. So that's really the only way that I knew how to create content. But then I learned about, you can have a blog, you can write an article, you can write a post. And at the very least, I recommend that you incorporate video content into your strategy. It doesn't need to be the only thing you do. But the more powerful you are on video, the better presenter it makes you in general. You just have to keep going. You've probably heard of the mastery rule that says that once you do something for 10,000 hours, you become a master of that thing. Well, obviously, if you're not spending 10,000 hours on something, you're still going to become pretty good at that thing. And studies have actually shown that you become better than 99% of other people at something once you've done something for over 100 hours. And studies also show that you become proficient at something after simply putting 30 hours into that task. So if you quantify it, if it takes you 30 minutes to an hour to record one video, or even 30 minutes per video, then it would realistically take you 50 to 60 videos before you even become proficient with creating video content. So as you can see, this is a journey. This takes time. The point is just begin. Begin sharing your story. Begin helping people with what it is you want to help them with. And I talk about how to create content, and I talk about how to create the titles of content and what your target audience wants. I talk about all of that in other impact hours that we broadcast, but in many other videos that we have on my LinkedIn and on my YouTube channel as well. So be sure to check those out. But you just have to get started. And if you want to accelerate your progress, then be sure to like and subscribe and follow wherever you're listening or watching so you can see all future videos. But in the comments and description, there's a link to schedule a free 15-minute clarity call where you and I together will get together and we'll talk about your business, your brand, how you can grow your brand, how you can reach even more people so that you can create more impact, but also so that you can sell more of your products and services. Click that link below so that we can have a conversation to accelerate your progress. We can't get really anywhere alone. We have to have a coach. We have to have a mentor, someone to guide us along. And I would love to be that for you. So check out the description, check out the comments below. I hope that this served you well.